Hi, my name's Chris Bенtlі. I'm a lawyer. I'm Canadian. I practiced for 23 years in Canada defending people accused of crime. I also went into politics for 10 years, and for 4 of those years I was the province of Ontario's Attorney General. That means I was in charge of prosecuting crime. I wanted to share with you 4 thoughts, maybe tips, on how I would approach a closing argument. So the first is preparation. The preparation of your closing argument begins before the case even starts in court. You need to know your case. You need to know your client. You need to know it from the perspective of a lawyer, remembering the judge is going to make the decision. And that means you're not your client, and you're not your client's relative. You're not your client's best friend. You're the lawyer presenting the case. The distinction is very important. You also need to remember, what does the prosecutor have to prove, and how are they going to prove it? How can I, through the evidence we will present, undermine or diminish the prosecutor's case? What positive points can we establish through our evidence? That's all in preparation. And then when the trial starts, you're listening to the evidence. To the evidence that's actually presented in court, not the evidence we hope is going to be presented in court, not what we wish or what we thought, but what actually happens. And my strong advice for you is that when you're either questioning witnesses, your own, the prosecutors, or when you're listening, that you do so respectfully, that you are not the actor, you are the lawyer. So if the prosecutor says something that you find outrageous, don't act your outrage. Sit there respectfully. If a witness says something either that surprises you or outrages you, my practice is it's best not to show any emotion, particularly if it's something I didn't want to hear. Don't show any emotion. They might notice, or they might not, that something surprising was said, but it's better if you don't react. Let the witnesses be the witnesses. And then when it comes to actually making the argument, some people like to present everything possible to the judge, not me. Choose your best 1, 2, or 3 arguments on why the prosecutor did not prove the case, not 15 arguments. And make sure the arguments are things that the prosecutor actually had to establish, and that your top 3 arguments fairly represent the evidence. They're based on the evidence that was presented, not what you hope was presented, not what you thought might be presented, but what was actually presented. I would only choose 3. I would make those as clear as possible. If you sound like you don't understand them, the judge is never going to understand them. If you present 10 things in the hope the judge will find something, the judge is more likely going to think that you actually don't have any argument, and that's why you're throwing everything at the judge. And the final point I would make is, you're the advocate. You're not the accused, and you're not the accused family. You'll remember I said that at the beginning. Be fair about cases. People sometimes think they're more persuasive if they only ever talk about what works for them that's best for their client. But that's not true. The most persuasive advocate is the one who can take the strong points of his or her case, incorporate the strong points for the other side, and make it clear that the strong points for the other side, as strong as they are not enough to persuade the judge, or should not be enough to persuade the judge to decide in their favor. In other words, you incorporate their good points, don't ignore them, because if you incorporate them, you're better able to undermine or refute them. And when I say incorporate, present them fairly. Don't present them partially. Present them fairly. If the judge realizes that you're always the one to present it fairly, you're going to more likely garner respect and more likely be persuasive. I wish you all the best.